Hello everyone, welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD, and today we'll be reviewing and analyzing chapter 354 of My Hero Academia. If this is your first time on this channel, or you've been here before but haven't done so already, would greatly appreciate it if you could do your boy a solid, like, share, subscribe, would mean the absolute world to me. Anyway, without much further ado, let's get into this review. So, chapter 354 of My Hero Academia, titled Here. I was kind of excited when I heard that title because I was kind of assuming that either Midoriya was going to show up or All Might. 90% Midoriya, 10% All Might. I am here. I thought this was going to be Deku embracing that legacy. Unfortunately, it was not. Still a pretty good chapter nonetheless, right? So we start off with All for One versus Hawks and Endeavor, right? And so Hawk starts off the chapter like, hey, we know his weakness. It's his life support system. It's his mask. Even when he escaped Tartarus, he had that jaunt with him. That's what we have to go for. Vegeta says, yeah, but he's clearly aware that he's going to be aiming to protect that. So it's one of those things that are easier said than done, but I'm very curious to see how they go about getting that mask off. Future mask off. Anyway, after that, they charge at him. I love the pettiness of All for One's first move, because if you remember the last panel of the previous chapter, he had like different abilities on his fingers flexing, and so this time he fires off the wind scythes off his middle finger, and I just love the kind of like the the implication that like not only is he attacking them, but he's also kind of like flicking them off. So that cracked me up. I really love that part, right? And so we have, after that, Endeavor pull up this huge fire flame wall, and then he does a Hawks uses that flame wall to combine with his attacks and fire flaming bird feathers through it. Now I don't know if it's his normal feathers or if it's the prosthetics, but he's able to fire his feathers through it, right? Now that's just a distraction. Hawks, and he's known for speed, tries to come up behind All for One, Dragon Ball Z style, and hit him with his feather swords, but unfortunately he is too slow, which brings us into probably the best part of this chapter, and it is All for One's shit talking. Jesus Christ, man, this dude spends all of this chapter just shitting on everyone that comes to fight him. Endeavor, Hawks, and the surprise appearances later on in the chapter, right? So basically All for One is like, hey, nice surprise attack, but didn't you used to be faster? Now this part was actually interesting because I did read this chapter earlier on the TBS website, but then I was like, hey, it's Sunday. Let me before this review actually read the actual translation, and it was actually kind of interesting the translation differences. So in this one, I was under the impression that in the fan translation, I was under the impression that Hawks was essentially like, yeah, it sucks, kind of just down in the dumps, tear falling from his eye kind of response. But I like the Viz translation a little bit better, just because Hawks gets in his own shot, and he's like, yeah, we're both crippled, aren't we? And I was like, oh, Hawks talking his shit. Do that damn thing, right? So that was pretty interesting, and there was a bunch of little translation differences and stuff like that. So anyway, after that, Endeavor comes with a flaming, vanishing fist, blazing fist in one of the translations. All you need to know, it is a big fire fist ace type attack where Endeavor comes and launching at him. Now, All for One doesn't care. He seems to be able to take them on easily. I'm not gonna lie to you, I had no faith at all that Endeavor and Hawks were going to stand a modicum of a chance here. I have been clowning Endeavor ever since that Nomu fight. There was a Nomu fight way earlier on in the series. It is probably one of the first fights we get from Endeavor after he becomes the number one hero after All Might. And I just thought it was kind of embarrassing because All Might showed us that even at his like weakest, he was able to somewhat easily dispatch the Nomu, right? But like it took Endeavor everything just to fight a Nomu, and now you're about to fight the boss of the Nomu that has all these powers and stuff. So yeah, it was kind of wild. Now, another translation issue that like I was kind of confused about was in the fan translation they were like keep laying into him, he can't keep up, his hyper regeneration can't keep up, and then in the official we're told he doesn't have hyper regeneration, which makes a lot of sense because of what happened with Stars and Stripe. So I'm very, very curious about which is more accurate, but I'm going to go with obviously the official. It makes a lot more sense for that to be the more accurate one, especially after the Stars and Stripes issue we had. But yeah, man, this dude is just going in, talking smack. At one point calls Hawks Miss Nagant replacement. If you remember her, Lady Nagant, she was the one that could turn her hands into a sniper, her arm into a sniper. I think Hawks was trained by her originally, or was he trained by her? I forget the lore, but like there was an attachment there. He shoots some shots at he shoots more shots at Hawks, talking about how his wings are pitiful. This is around the time where he's not fast enough. His wings are pitiful. They're prosthetic. He wasn't able to grow them all back, which, by the way, I think that really sucks for Hawks. I'm not sure if it's just, a timing thing where, like, eventually after enough time passes, he'll get his wings back, or they're actually, like, completely done. They're never going to grow back to what they were. He's stuck with the metal wings. Kind of reminds me of Angel from X-Men when he has the natural, actual, like, bird wings kind of, and then like something happens. It's either he's transformed by Apocalypse or something like that, and then he permanently has like the metal wings. So we'll see how this goes, but I kind of really feel for Hawks in this situation. He doesn't stop there, and he's just talking mad shit to Endeavor now, and he talks about how Endeavor feels like his heart's not into this, and how like everyone else is fighting with their life on the line, and Endeavor doesn't seem all the way there. And then he's like, hey, once again another translation difference. I'm not gonna do this all the time, but it's just fresh in my head because I literally just read the official after reading the the fan translation, and in the fan translation it was kind of implied that it was known that Shoto beat Toya, aka Dabi. In this one, it's kind of proposed as a question, like that he beat him. But either way, he's trying to be like, aren't you proud? Your masterpiece beat, Dabi, right? But of course he's not going to be proud. He's their father. This whole situation is almost because of him. And then that's when All For One drops that other, like, literally, this man is the numero uno instigator. Like, I just love like how so much of this chapter reminds me of RDC World skits. That's the first one, and so he's just like, oh, by the way, like, I can't help but sow seeds in fertile ground. Why do you think no one ever found Toya? And then it was at that moment where things just kind of clicked for Endeavor, where he's like, it was you. Like, he doesn't really say that, but like you can see his facial expression, like, oh my god, like putting like 2 and 2 together, which, once again, I'm a hater. It is what it is. But Endeavor is kind of trash if you're telling me he had no goddamn clue, or like he just pieced together the fact that that it was All For One that had involvement in his son's disappearance and transformation into the villain that he is today. I think maybe he thought he ran away because of his harsh treatment. Actually, no, he thought he died. He originally thought he originally thought he died, but I'm wondering, like, once he came back, he didn't piece things together. So that was a little bit like, come on, dude. But anyway, it doesn't work. Hawks warns him and says, hey, don't let him get to you. This is the exact same thing he did to All Might. Like, All For one of his quirks must be shit talking, because he was talking all that hot shit this chapter. It was great. Anyway, it works. And immediately All For One clomp, chops off Endeavor's arm, yo. That shit was tough. That shit was so tough. Endeavor, you armless. Look at you now. So I wonder how they're gonna do that. We do know that this universe does have prosthetic technology, so that is a direction that they can definitely go in. But I love that he caught him by surprise, and I think that while he did that, I think he also threw something at Hawks, but I'm not quite sure. Anyway, this is looking like a wrap. They're looking done. They're like it just seems over. And All For One launches another attack. However, it is blocked by Earphone Jack's quirk. And then we see in the next panel that Earphone Jack is riding Kageyama. I always forget like his superhero name, and then I always forget his real name. But I think it's Kageyama, the 1A student that has the dark shadow quirk that makes him look like a raven or a crow. And so they're combined. She's riding his back. I think this is like one of the first times, or one of the few times we've seen him actually fly. And also, I think it means a lot that it is Kageyama. If I'm butchering his name, I apologize. I forget his name in this moment. But he actually studied under Hawks hero agency. So, this means a bunch to him. This is his mentor that he's coming to protect, and he's going to help. We get a little bit of funny banter between Earphone Jack and Kageyama, and he's like, yo, can you stop moving your butt while you're riding me? And she's awkward. She's embarrassed. He's embarrassed. So it's really cute, right? But the gold medal Olympus himself in instigating does not miss a beat, continues to talk that shit, and essentially calls them, side characters. And I was just like, Jesus, man, this man does not stop. And it's funny because someone literally said that earlier about, he said it about himself. I keep forgetting people's names. I'm sorry about that. I know it's a bad look, but what can I do? I read so much stuff. But the dude that can steal people's quirks temporarily and use them. So this is like another callback to that for me. But he's like, you guys are just some side characters. Like, I'm about to crush you. But I do love how Earphone Jack doesn't lose her composure, and she essentially bosses up, and she's like, isn't that something best said after you beat us? So I'm loving the confidence. A lot of people are taking this as red flags that someone's gonna die. I don't think anyone's going to die. If it is, it's going to be Hawks, but I doubt it. Endeavor's going to lose an arm, but like I said, we got prosthetic, technology. He'll be good. And I think this is just kind of one of those, thematic sacrifices where, that Endeavor had to pay in some way, shape, or form for, his sins. And this is, the way he pays by having, by losing his limb, right? Hawks, I just feel like, is on his last legs. He's a fraction of what he used to be. Kind of reminds me of me after I tore my ACL. He can still get things done, but he's nowhere near as close to his prime, so he could struggle. I just don't see anyone from Class 1A, dying, maybe getting injured, but I do see Midoriya showing up right before there's a moment where, something really, really bad happens. But I just, All For One does not look worried in the slightest. But yeah, I'm excited to see what new moves, Earphone Jack has, what Kageyama have, how they're able to fuse their quirks together and, bounce off each other. But yeah, this was a really cool chapter. I'm going to leave it here for now. But yeah, I'm really excited. This is one of those series where not the biggest fan of what's happening week to week to week. I'm like that with a lot of series personally. There's a lot of series that just does not do well from the week to week format, and that's not me saying I would rather it be That's not me saying I would rather it be monthly. It's just I'm a binge reader. Certain things work better binge than when you're just getting crumbs every week. It can be frustrating, but I can tell that this is all going to culminate in a really great legendary fight, and a lot of the themes are going to come together. It's just about being patient and eventually getting there. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video. This has been Otaku Talk. I'm your host, OD. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Peace. Have a great, today's the last day of the weekend, but have a great Memorial Day. Take care.